From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Well, we're 1 week into President Trump's second term, and he's wasted no time implementing his crackdown on immigration. Good evening. I'm Ryan Yamamoto. ICE reported making nearly 1,200 arrests today alone. And since the election night, we have spoken with schools, farm workers, and faith leaders. They have all emphasized a feeling of fear over the thoughts of ICE agents suddenly showing up and rounding up community members. San Jose officials confirmed that ICE operations did take place over the weekend. Agents arrested a Colombian national at a Target store. Mayor Matt Mahan says police were notified about the operation, but says officers did not assist those agents. The Rapid Response Network told us news of the raid is already having a chilling effect.
So folks called us today worried about going to work, worried about coming to go shopping, worried about visiting their families, worried about leaving their houses at all.
So far, ICE has not responded to requests for comment on this arrest, but they did release a statement related to an arrest of a Guatemalan national in Sacramento who was convicted of lewd acts with a minor. ICE saying in part enforcement and removal operations officers in the San Francisco area of operations are committed to enforcing our nation's immigration laws against violent criminals, sex offenders, and others who pose a threat to public safety. Meanwhile, Amigos de Guadalupe, which helped form San Jose's Rapid Response Network, is handing out these red cards. They instruct people what to do if immigration authorities question them. It also reminds them they also have a constitutional right not to open their doors and to remain silent. Our John Ramos on how communities are handling the immigration crackdown and the numbers that show deportations were trending up even under President Biden.
No matter how scary a situation may be, we can always imagine something even scarier. And that describes the immigration system these days.
What we're feeling, what we're hearing is a sense of fear, a climate of anxiety.
Fear has always been an effective motivator, and George Galvis with the Oakland social justice group Courage says the messages from the White House about immigration are having their effect.
Parents are scared to drop off their children to school. People are scared to even access health care. We're hearing about our farm workers here in California are scared to report to work, and that crops are not necessarily getting picked. And we're hearing about we should anticipate a shortage of food. We should expect a rise in food costs.
That's a lot for all of us to fear, but are the ICE raids really happening? The answer is yes, but not as much as some might think. On Sunday, ICE said it arrested nearly 1,000 people across the country, up from the nearly 600 picked up on Friday. That would certainly be reason for concern for immigrants, but ironically, the data shows that far more people were ever deported under Presidents Obama and Biden than during the first Trump administration. Galvis thinks things may just be getting started, and he sees a difference.
I do think we are going to see increases, but I think it's really more of the climate of xenophobia, of intolerance, of hate that's going to actually create a perpetuation of hate crimes towards people who are perceived to be otherized.
And when the president rescinded a policy prohibiting ICE arrests at schools, it brought the fear to the classroom as well.
This talk, these threats really have, created anxiety amongst our students, families, community members, and our staffs.
Dr. Adam Clark is superintendent of the Mount Diablo Unified School District in the East Bay. He says no arrests have been attempted at any of his campuses, and they don't have hard data showing how many students may be out of school because of the fear. But he says the fear does exist, and he's doing what he can to make people aware of their policies.
Any officer from any department cannot just walk onto our campuses, flash a badge or give a card and expect to have access to students. We would need some sort of official documentation, specifically a signed warrant from a judge, even to start the conversation. And so I'm really trying to calm fears and calm anxieties by really just going back to the very strict and clear policies and protocols that we already have in place.
There have already been reports of ICE interactions that turned out to be false. So even though Galvis is concerned where the enforcement is going, he says it's important not to fan the flames of fear.
We're trying to promote some restraint, that don't promote something unless it's actually been confirmed. And what we'd like to see is actually video documentation, photo documentation, and receipts and really some confirmations from several sources before it's something that we're sharing.
President Trump promised deportations in his first term, but those didn't turn out to be as extensive as people expected. Now that he's doubling down on the rhetoric, the question is, how much will his words be put into action this time?
And let's take a closer look at the numbers. You can see where ICE arrests rose dramatically during the Biden administration, up about 90% in 2024 from the year before. And this graphic also shows how many non-citizens with criminal histories have been removed, all indicated in orange. ICE says about 32% of those arrested did have criminal records.